Take the French Revolution and Lovecraftian horror. Combine the two and...
Oh dear. Game key received for free. So, Liberte is a roguelike card-based game coming out into early access that I've been playing quite a bit of in the past couple of weeks to see if it's any good. Now, unfortunately, this video is going to be a largely negative one, so I want to make it clear right from the beginning that I've been playing a pre-release version of an early access game. Sort of early access, if you will. So I really hope that this one can be salvaged. But all I can tell you about is what I've got in front of me right now. So, Liberte begins with the coronation of the Prince of France being interrupted by an eldritch horror, killing many of the crowd and putting a stop to the prince's ascension to the throne. The concept of the game is that this leaves a power vacuum at a time of crisis that you will need to fill. Not by taking power for yourself, but by deciding which of 4 faction leaders is worthy of ruling France. This all sounds really good so far. An interesting setting with a really intriguing concept behind it. We may not get to be king, but being the kingmaker sounds pretty awesome. Well, unfortunately, here is where the good news stops, as we're thrown into actually playing the game. Loading into a mission, we're given a little bit of back and forth between 2 leaders of rival factions that are arguing, and we have to decide which side to support. Either way though, not much changes, apart from the types of enemies you'll encounter. What we have here is a top-down game that sees you running through the streets of Paris killing enemies along the way. Basic combat feels pretty awful, as we get a simple point the mouse towards the enemy and click to attack system, using spacebar to dodge incoming enemies. Often your attacks just don't connect, and the controls feel unresponsive, leading to regularly getting hit without it really being your fault, frustrating at the best of times. The real star of the combat system though is supposed to be the cards, and you'll gather these cards as you play through the mission. What cards you get is determined by the deck you chose at the start of your mission, and there's 3 starter decks to choose from, but you can of course make your own. As you gather cards, you'll have to burn some of them to gain mana, in order to play the cards that you really want. The problem here is that these abilities are just plain boring on the whole. There's loads of passive abilities just giving damage boosts or armor gain upon killing enemies, and what active abilities we do get are largely of the swing your sword really hard or shoot them with a pistol variety. I mean, come on guys, we have eldritch horrors running rampant here. Can't we have something a little more interesting? Now, to be fair, there are a couple of cooler abilities, but these can only be acquired by fighting a boss. More about that later. And they have a limited number of uses. Also, these ultimates look awesome, but for the most part, they're not nearly as powerful as you'd think. Sometimes not even having enough damage to kill normal enemies.
Ouch!
One thing I do appreciate here in this system though is that the abilities are on a hit cooldown rather than a timer cooldown. Meaning if you're hitting enemies and being aggressive, you can use your abilities more regularly. They just need to be a lot more interesting to make using them actually fun. So really that's the basic idea of the game. Running through the streets of Paris and killing enemies. Paris itself is broken up into individual maps that you'll teleport between when you run off the edge of the last map, and you will see the same areas over and over again. It doesn't matter what the mission is, it doesn't matter which side you take, the same areas keep coming up. Even the starting point for every mission is the exact same place. You'll pretty much always find some kind of shop in the mission, and a Lovecraftian boss halfway through it. The same boss every single time. Honestly, I have fought this guy dozens of times at this stage, and he's not even that tough. He's the one, by the way, who gives you the cool ability, so even though he is technically optional in every mission, without him you miss out on the cool stuff. Should you manage to make your way all the way through to the final objective, you'll have to face another boss. And thankfully, at least this time, there is a bit of variety. And some of these bosses do have interesting movesets that make you change up the way you play. Beat that boss and effectively win the mission, and you'd think some kind of cutscene would be in order, or a bit of story. But instead, you get shunted on jarringly to the next mission, starting in the same place with another argument between two factions. You actually have to beat 3 missions in a row to get the victory screen as a reward for your efforts. And then, it's back in to do it all again. I think what they were hoping here is that players would be drawn in by the fact they're unlocking new cards as they play, and they'll want to try out their new abilities. But the gameplay loop here just doesn't have enough variety as it stands for me to want to keep playing. Honestly, what this game needs badly is branching paths. Like in one of my favourite games of this style, Stories: The Path of Destinies. Your choices matter in that game, and everything you do opens up new possibilities and changes the world around you. Here, it's the same content over and over again. Wouldn't it be awesome to see Paris either thrive or suffer because of your choices, and see the different factions gain strength and influence because of you? Just something to actually make the interesting setting they've got here work for the game. At the moment, the only choice we get is what faction we're going to support in the random mission we get thrown into, and that doesn't really seem like it matters. Now, there is a multiplayer system here that I unfortunately couldn't test, as I had this one pre-release, and there is a strong chance that Liberte will be more fun with friends, but everything is. That doesn't really paper over the cracks. Speaking of cracks, well, Liberte has its fair number that bugs have clearly crawled in through. Whether it's enemies off the map, walls you can walk through, invisible walls that you can't walk through, allies getting trapped, or even getting stuck so often that the devs felt the need to put an "I'm stuck" button in the menu, that doesn't always work by the way, you won't be playing this one long before something goes awry. I need to hit an enemy with a basic attack to get it back as well. It's not a oh god, that guy! Oh, okay, well, we've already glitched. But I think we're gonna have to restart this somehow. Oh, I'm stuck. That just put me in another spot where I'm still stuck. I was gonna say it's never a good sign when a game has an "I'm stuck" button because it expects you to get stuck. But when the "I'm stuck" button doesn't actually work, that's even worse. I even restarted my campaign a couple of days ago to see if anything had been updated, and I couldn't get through the tutorial because enemies that you have to beat to progress had glitched and were invincible and not attacking me. I really don't want to sound like I'm being harsh here, and the concept behind this one could honestly be something awesome. The French Revolution crossed with crazy monsters is a genuinely interesting setting. But as it stands, there's just no way I can recommend Liberte. I really, sincerely hope the devs fix the issues here and build on the systems they've put in place, because this could become a good game. But it needs more time in the metaphorical oven, more content on its own, and releasing into early access isn't the way to get that time in my opinion. I honestly hope I'm wrong and that 6 months to a year down the line, this game is top notch, and I hope I'll have to do another video on this one to tell you how good Liberte became. For now though, not so much. Thank you so much for watching, let me know what you thought of this one in the comments, and leave me a like and subscribe to the channel for more. I'll see you next time.